Ryan Salazar here with Broadcast Beat. We have a very special guest. He's a good friend of ours, Jose Maria Noriega of Fluotec. How are you, Jose?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much, Ryan. It's great to have you here.
All right. Well, so you guys are located in Mexico City, right?
Yes, in Mexico City and in Laredo, Texas.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Well, it was nice seeing you at the most recent NAB show, and we look forward to seeing you at Cinegear 2016 in just a few days here. Talk about what you guys are doing at Cinegear.
Well, as you have seen in NAB, we presented two special new soft lights, the CineLight 120 and the CineLight 60. These are the lighting fixtures that we presented in the United States for the first time, and they are excellent. I would say that this is the Hollywood soft light style that will give a very, very interesting kind of feeling to any production. You have experience with our soft lighting in television, and now we are going into the film industry and the digital cinema industry with these new fixtures that are very, very well positioned in terms of technological advances and, of course, on price.
So let's talk about the trends in the industry that have happened over the last few years. Could you talk about white light?
Oh, yes. As I told you, white light is something that is very important for the broadcast industry and for the film industry, because it's the light that you actually need to have in front of your talent. All the other lights that will go into a set are more for the kind of idea that will give you different colors in the background, or a kind of show idea of something that you will have to show. Variety shows will have this kind of changing colors and things like that. But if you are going to have a talent in front of your camera, an interview or people that is performing, you have to have the best quality of light that will give the actual look of the skin, the actual look of the clothing, the actual look of the sets. And that is used in digital film, it's used in film, and it's used in television. And as you have seen, and you have told me, you don't have to have these little green spikes that all the other lights have. You have to have a pure light that is white and will give the best from your talent.
All right, so Jose, I'm certainly not a lighting guy, but tungsten and fluorescent, if you could talk about the differences between those two.
Oh, yes, of course. As you have remembered, tungsten has been the technology that was first used by Thomas Alva Edison almost 100 years ago. And from that invention, that was the invention of the artificial light, we have had a lot of enormous advances in lighting. And tungsten, it has been like the norm, and not because it's very special or because the look is right, because it was the only available technology that we have in that time. Advances in technology made the tungsten a little difficult to control, because when you dim out a tungsten fixture, then you change the color temperature. So you cannot go from 100% to 0% with the same color temperature. The color temperature will change with the dimming. And that's something that is not very good when you have an idea to have a dimming situation where you don't want to change the color temperature.
Okay, cool. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead, pick up.
Yeah, and in the case of fluorescent, it came after the tungsten, and it's a much more environmentally friendly kind of fixture, because it has more lumens per watt than the tungsten. But anyhow, it's not the very good light that we all need. The light that we need now is the LED, because this light has been doing the work of digital. It's a new light that can be controlled, that can be dim, that you can change color, that you can adjust remotely with the DMX controls and other kind of controls. Something that you couldn't do before without a lot of expenses in dimming switchers and a lot of equipment for air conditioning. So this change from tungsten to fluorescent to LED is like is related to the advancement of technology. And we in this kind of industry, we have to go with the technology and the advancements of science.
Okay, cool. So talk about HMI substitution. I see that in one of my questions. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but it sounds interesting for sure.
Oh yes, it is very interesting. So far, the kind of power that you can get from LEDs have not been the same as other technologies. You can remember the big lights that you have in the cinema, the 5Ks, the 10Ks, the 20Ks. They use a lot of energy just to have a very small amount of visible light. Then the HMIs are lights that are used that have very, very good quality of light, but they also have some hindrances for producers. They need ballast and they are very heavy, and but they have a lot of power. Up to now, we can have now LEDs in the range of this technology that will substitute this kind of lighting fixtures that are mostly used to be using outdoors. You don't use this kind of lights in indoors. Maybe in big stations, of course, you will use it in big stations, but it's mainly used to control the shadows or control the lights and control the contrast when you are working on exteriors.
So what makes a quality light fixture?
A quality light fixture has some components that have to be related to this. First, the power. You have to need the power that you will need for your production. You have to have the illuminance on your face that is correct for your application. So the power is something that is important. The quality of light that is measured in different kind of indexes, for example, the CRI, the TLCI, these are indexes that are related to how this light react with different colors. Not all the lights react with the external world in the same way. As you have said to me, you can have a light that seems to you white, but then the camera will look and you look like a Martian, a little green, and that's an index that you don't want. You need indexes of the purity of the light that goes towards a high CRIs and high TLCIs, and that's something that you have to look for. Chinese knockoffs and a low quality lighting will have a very poor color rendering index.
Okay.
And if you have that poor color rendering index, the people looks very bad.
Jose, if you could talk about sustainability of lighting technologies and the need for efficient lighting systems.
Oh yes, of course. This is a very important concept that has to be taken into account. Until now, we have been using tungsten in efficient lighting because that was the technology that was available. And if you, as everybody talks in the industry, you say, I want a 1000 K Fresnel, for example, a 1000 watt Fresnel, that will give you some kind of light that was not exactly 1 kilowatt of lumens. So now with LEDs, you can have the same amount of lumens, actually the light that is used by the camera, with only 185 watts of energy. So the amount of savings that you are having is something like 80%. And that's something that is expended every month. And in order to have a sustainable industry, you have to have the most advanced technology that uses the energy in the more efficient way. And that's the way that the LEDs work. They use the energy in a more efficient way than the tungsten. The tungsten is used for heat, you know. That's why they use it in Mexico for heating tacos. But there is a lot of energy that is wasted. Then you have to have air conditioning. So all the energy that you are using when you use tungsten lighting is really dispersed as heat. And now with LEDs, you are having a cool light that only uses the visible spectrum. And that's why it's a lot of savings on that.
Jose, if you could, talk about soft lighting a little bit more.
Yes, soft lighting is something very interesting, Ryan, because actually that's something of the quality of light. The light can be hard if it gives you hard shadows and very defined shadows. And if people wants to look really nice, you have to have a light that really goes all around your face, all around your physiognomy. And soft lighting as you have seen by photographers and other professionals, these big boxes that you need in front of flashes or in front of Fresnels. And what happened with soft lighting is that it really makes people stand out as a beautiful person in some sense. Of course, if you want to do some kind of hard light with with people that has some character, it's something that is also used, of course. But for very fast situations where you want people to look right in the very first moment that you set up your light, soft lighting is the.
Again, Jose, thanks so much for spending some time with us. We're going to see you at Paramount Studios for the Cinegear event in stage 31, booth number S as in Sam, 216D. Again, that's S216D. We'll see you later. Have a good one, Jose.
Have a great day. Bye-bye, Ryan.